We have more wide receiver drama, as I just covered George Pickens. Drama in Pittsburgh. We have Tyreek Hill that supposedly and reportedly wants out of Miami. After only having 2 catches for 20 yards and a loss to the Jets and them being exited out of the playoffs. And then also, this is Tyreek Hill's first time missing the playoffs after his stint with Kansas City Chiefs and his prior years with Miami Dolphins. He never missed the playoffs before. So a lot of the things that he said could be just overreaction to the situation at the time, because a lot of time when they catch these players out of the locker room, uh, the emotions are still high. Their feelings are still heightened. They haven't had time to cool off and think about things. But I'll kind of dig into why I think that Tyreek Hill probably should have left a while ago, or well, some can argue that he should never left Kansas City Chiefs, but I have reasons for him not being able to do that as well. But he told reporters that he's going to do what's best for him and his family, and he said, "I'm out," and he kind of just left the interview abruptly. So it seems to be trouble in paradise, problemas in paradiso, as they say. Um, Early in the season, he also, people didn't, I don't think they reverted back to him. They asked him about being traded and possibly, leaving the team. And he said, wherever happens, happens. I'm just a player. He kind of shrugged it off. But I've been seeing lately, he's been tweeting good luck to the Chiefs and all these things about different things about the Chiefs. So it seems like he's reminiscing about the old days and what he had, and realizing what he had, he doesn't have anymore. Which a lot of times we realize that after the fact, and it's all hindsight. But when you think about it, Tyreek Hill, when he left the Chiefs, he was asking for a contract. They didn't give him the number that he wanted. So he left Kansas City and went to Miami. Now, I can't blame him for leaving that. Most people say, why did you leave? Travis Kelce, and you had Patrick Mahomes. But at the end of the day, these players come from nothing, and they're trying to get much money as they can in the short time that they can get it, because football is not like golf where you can play it for 30, 40 years. They have a limited time to get this money. Also, he's leaving Kansas City to go to Miami, which is, a warmer city, no state tax, better scenery. Right now in the Kansas City area, we've got a foot of snow. You don't have to deal with that in Miami. You don't have to deal with the harsh conditions. So I don't blame him for leaving Kansas City to go to Miami. It's such a great location, more money, opportunity to feed his family, and try to take an aim at that generational wealth to build for the next generation as well. To have that money and have that success going on and passing it down to your children, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, passing that success and that money down to generation to generation. But sometimes people don't want us to get that generational wealth, and they want us to just go over they want their fandom over the money that these players are supposed to get, which is totally absurd. I don't agree with that at all. My fandom can wait, but I'd rather people have the money that they need for their families. But nevertheless, his coach Mike McDaniels, was asked about Tyreek Hill during the game, and he said Tyreek Hill was unavailable for a series that he was told. Mike McDaniels said he didn't even investigate this. He just put someone else in the game and then deal with it, because he probably already sensed that Tyreek Hill was on his way out or was upset. As great as Tyreek Hill is, 2 catches for 20 yards, he probably hasn't had that since Little League. He's one of the fastest players in the league. He's a growing route runner, exceptional athlete. 2 for 20 is something he's supposed to have in a quarter at the least. But nevertheless, Tyreek Hill, I think, is frustrated and he does want out. And I think that emotion, like, they just put everything over the top. But you have to think about all the things that they had went through this year for the Miami Dolphins. Tua, with his concussions, he's been in and out. He had the hip injury that he was out for at the end of the season. So Tua missed 6 games, and then Jalen Waddle missed 2 games. Raheem Mostert missed 4 games, and he played all games, but he was banged up with that wrist injury that he suffered as a result of those Miami PD officers. So they've been pretty banged up this year, so they haven't had a healthy team. So some of that frustration I don't think, I think he knows about it, but he just frustration's boiled over. If you're out there on the football field, like I said with George Pickens, and when you're a wide receiver, sometimes you can run 50 yards down the field and back, and you never even touched the football, even had a pass thrown your way. So there's a lot of fatigue with it, and you have to have a lot of stamina, and just to keep running around like you're exercising sometimes seems like it can be frustrating for these guys. So a lot of times these guys are underappreciated as well, just for what they do for just being a decoy sometimes. When you have a Tyreek Hill, you can't stuff the box like you can uh, with lesser receivers. People are double teaming and triple teaming him sometimes, so it opens up the run game. So a lot of times receivers are not appreciated in that way. But nevertheless, this is his first season without 1,000 yards receiving, which, like I said, for his talent and his athleticism, it's absurd. But like I said, he never had a serviceable portable back most of the year. Most of the time, he had backup quarterbacks that he was throwing to, and his name escapes me. But the quarterback that he had last Saturday, he was a game manager at best. I think it was Sunday. He was a game manager at best. He wasn't throwing the football down the field. He was throwing little thinking deck passes, little 2-yard, 3-yard passes. And when you have Tyreek Hill, you have to be able to throw the ball down the field. Without that, defense is not going to respect you. They're going to clamp down on your quarterback, and it's going to be over, which it was for them this past week. But coming off the season that he did as well, on pace to break the season receiving record for yards. And for this year, not to get 1,000 yards is very disappointing. And I think he has to make the best of his career. So if he wants to leave, I don't blame him, because he has to make the best of his career while he can. So there's a bunch of quarterbacks he can go to and then get that same fulfillment. And he doesn't necessarily need to go back to the Chiefs. There are a bunch of young quarterbacks and a bunch of quarterbacks right now he can go to. If he goes to a Lamar, he goes to a Josh Allen, he goes to a Joe Burrow. Now, if he goes to a Joe Burrow, game over, because Tyreek Hill with Chase and Higgins, all they need now is, they would need was a running back. And shoot, you could probably put me at running back and they'll still be successful with the receivers that they have. They do have Chase Brown, but I don't think he's a true 3-down back. You would need probably a bigger back there. But there's a lot of options for Tyreek to go. We'll see if Miami wants to deal him. Like I said, he's making like $30 million a year, so it's going to be kind of difficult to trade him somewhere. So will he take a pay cut to go somewhere else? I doubt it. But if he wants to get out, he might have to compromise a little bit on pay, especially weather. It's not many good weather towns he can go to other than like the Rams, shameless plug, or going to the Chargers or Vegas. But Vegas, he'll be in a worse situation. So there's not a lot of better weather places he can go. But we'll keep an eye on this Tyreek Hill stuff and see where it lends to, and hopefully something to get figured out, hopefully this offseason.